What up, everybody? Astro Manny here, back at it again with another video. Welcome to my setup video slash key binding video. So this video might be a little bit longer because it's going to be key bindings. If you're here to see the setup, it's going to be right now, right here in the beginning of the video. If you're here to see the key bindings and you don't care about the setup, you can fast forward a little bit and see the key bindings. But I'm going to show you guys my setup just so you guys can see that too. There's a Cosmos setup there on the side there. But anyways, yeah, you guys know what to do. Smash that like button, leave a comment down below, and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you guys for all your guys' love and support. This is me in real life showing you guys my real life setup. So I hope you guys enjoy this. I don't know how well this is going to go. Like I said, leave comments down below. Show me your guys' setups. Tell me about your guys' setups. Join the Discord, so show pictures and whatnot. I don't have a very fancy setup. I just live with what I got. I got fancy equipment, but I don't got a very fancy setup. I'll show you guys now what we got. Okay, so here we go. A minute in, we're going to flop over to the other, right? So boom, with all its glory. This is also me using, you know, a cell phone for recording. But anyways, this is my setup here, the chair in all its glory. It's a little corner in our living room because the missus likes me to be close to her and all that whatnot. So cool beans on that. This is the setup. This is the overall view of the setup. The actual big screen TV is our living room TV that is also set up to my computer. It doesn't get very much computer time unless I'm playing a console game or something that uses a controller, and then I just sit back on the couch and play on that. Other than that, it's hooked up to the computer, but it doesn't get very much use. Here's the rest as we go in. No fancy monitors really. They're just you know, your standard will-of-the-mill monitors. I think it's a big, I don't remember the size, 35 inch, maybe 33. That one's only 24, the right one, something like that. My webcam definitely needs to be updated. It's a subpar webcam. The computer in the back, the specs are in the description. You guys know about that. All my equipment is also in the description currently now. Got a nice little setup for decorations on the side. Our blue Yeti microphone. Our keyboard, which goes on my lap. Just to let you guys know, the keyboard goes on my lap. Then we had the mouse I use, which is a GO2 502 Euro. Correct. It's in the description, guys. I find the Tobii Eye Tracker works for me better on the desk, just chilling there instead of being on the bottom of the desk. And then there's my light for my live streaming. And of course, what you guys came to see basically probably is the Virpil Constellation Alpha primes and all of their glory. So there it is. We'll get more views of it in the key binding setup because I'll use my hands in the key bindings to show you guys specifically what buttons I'm pressing when we're doing the key binding. So I'm gonna put a lot of work into this video, and so I do appreciate you guys sharing the video and smashing that like button and sharing your guys' comments and whatnot. There's the pedals down there at the bottom, the Virpil Ace collection. I'm gonna put a lot of work into this video, guys. So yeah, show me some love. Let's get into the key bindings. I'm gonna do a cut here, and while I'm doing the key bindings, I'm gonna also show me holding the sticks in my hand and pressing the button that we're showing for that key binding. And if you don't have Virpil Constellation Alphas, then that's okay. These are just relative key bindings that you can kind of work around and put where you see fit and have fun with it. But anyways, I'm gonna show you guys the key bindings now. I'll see you guys on the other side, and thanks for all the help. Appreciate you guys. Okay guys, we're back. Alright, so I'm gonna explain a little bit how this video is gonna go. I muted the Star Citizen audio in the back, so you just hear my voice, but I'll probably throw music, my music that I normally throw on when I'm live streaming stuff in the background and whatnot, so there's a little bit of music going on in the background. I'm going to be going over the key bindings first, and then maybe I'll go into controls, and then I'll do game settings, and then maybe at the very end we'll show off the graphic settings. I don't think the graphic settings matter or anything, but I'll just show you guys that as well at the very end as a little bonus. But we'll start with key bindings, and then we'll go into controls and game settings and whatnot. While I'm doing this, I'm going to have on the right side of the screen, there's going to be basically an overlay of a camera of me holding the sticks in my hands and pressing the buttons when I talk about the key binding for that said button. So I'm going to go through this video multiple times on my own time, and I'm going to collab it all together for you guys. So again, share the video, show some love. This is a kind of rough process. I'm not used to doing videos like this that are so interactive, but here we go. We're going to get into the key bindings. Enough of me talking. We're just going to go straight into this. Like I said, I run dual sticks, dual HOTAS or hands HOSAS, dual HOSAS and rudder pedals. I just use the pedals for throttle, so I don't use the toe brakes or anything. I just use the rotating pedals. So here we are. We're going to go into advanced customization. This is the new 3.23 key bindings that hopefully won't get changed over the next couple of days, because live will come out any second. And we're just going to start from the top, and we're going to go through everything. Okay, guys? For our HOSAS setup key bindings only. I'm not going to do mouse and keyboard key bindings. If you guys want to see mouse and keyboard key binds, leave a comment down below and let me know that. But all the FPS mouse and keyboard key bindings are basically default. So there's nothing really fancy there. Anyways, so let's get into it. Just starting off with vehicle seats and monitor modes. Okay. This is a recently added portion right here. All these toggle different operator modes. Just been added in 3.23. I normally don't even have an eject button, but I had a couple extra buttons on my key bindings or on my sticks, so I was like, you know what, I'll throw the eject button in. This button 3 is a button on oh, hold on, before we get into it, my right stick is the one that just says button 3, or it won't say input 2. You see how this says input 2? Input 2 means my left stick. So no input means my right stick. Input 2 means my left stick. Okay. So I just recently added eject on my right stick. Button 3 is, you'll see on the right side of the screen, button 3 is when I pull this tab down and then I actually click in the tab. Okay. So that's button 3. And that's my eject button. Look behind is also something I just recently put in. I just put this on my left stick, and it is on this top left hat, button 11, top left hat, pressing down. I don't normally have the look behind, but we'll see how it goes. Okay, and then so here's the operator modes. I do mining, salvaging, and scanning usually through mouse and keyboard, so that's why you don't see anything on those. Our quantum operator mode is button 13, which is this button on my right stick, bottom right. It's an actual button. Okay. And then toggle missile operator mode is button 7, also on my right stick, is an actual button. Toggle flight mode is for when you're going into nav mode and you don't want to have quantum activated. You can press button 7, which is the same button as my missiles, but since they're in different modes, the missiles is in SCM mode and the flight one is in nav mode. I can very comfortably use the same button for both of those and it doesn't make any kind of issues. So that's that for operator modes. Everything else is left undone because I don't have anything on set. I have everything on toggle, and yeah, that's how I have it for my stuff. Next, we'll move into the vehicle cockpit. I don't have a button for self-destruct, so I don't accidentally press self-destruct. I recently just added a flight systems ready button because I have extra buttons available. So I decidedly did button 1, which is when button 1 is this trigger, this hair trigger in the back when I go from it being toggled in to toggled out. That's button 1. So if I want to use systems ready, I have to have this already in and then I press it out for button 1. I do this because when I turn my ships off, a lot of times I'm going to just press it in, and so the next time I get onto a ship, I just hit that toggle button on and boom, then my stuff is ready. But most of the time I turn on my ships with my keyboard anyways. Open and close doors is button 29, which is on my left stick. Button 29 on my left stick. That is pressing up on this left little hat thing on the left side of my left stick. That is my open all doors and close all doors toggle button. Okay, and that is all for vehicle cockpit. Everything else I don't tend to use. The unlock and lock doors button I have on my keyboard. I actually think I have space somewhere for this. Let's go ahead and put this here. Yeah, I have that button there. I think I have another button too. No, that's a missile. Well, actually, that's what I'm gonna put. I'm gonna put this here. Okay, so actually my lock and unlock all doors button is up on this hat, on the up left on my left stick, because I have a couple buttons that are still available for me. So there you go. We're making adjustments on the go. I actually did this like 5 times before the video and I'm still making adjustments. But I think it's pretty much down pat to where I want it. So now we're on vehicle view. When I want to do free look camera, I use my left stick's analog. That is my free look. As you can see, X and Y rotations. The reason why it's on my left stick instead of my right stick, for some reason my right stick analog does not like to work. So yeah, we're just going to use the left stick. I used to have it on my right stick analog, but for some reason it's not working very properly right now, so I just switched it to my left stick. I prefer to have it on the right stick, but it's on the left stick. Cycle camera view, that is my click in on the analog on my right stick. And that's about it for vehicle views, because this is just your camera stuff. For my sticks, that's really all I do, is cycle in from first person to third person and then using free look with my left stick. Okay, then we move to the big one, flight movement, right? So pitch is my right stick, the Y axis, which is very normal for everybody. Right stick, Y axis. My yaw is my right stick Z axis, my twisting on my right stick, very normal for everyone. Some people switch the yaw and the roll, but I prefer to have the yaw on the Z axis and the roll, as you can see, on my right stick's X axis. So there you go. That's my right stick, pitch, yaw, roll. Moving on to strafing. Strafing up and down is on my left stick. It's on the Y axis. So pulling forward and backwards is my strafing up and down on my left stick. And then strafing left and right on my left stick is the X axis on the left stick. And then throttle is on the pedals. As you can see, that my pedals is my throttle. The reason for this is this allows me to have better accuracy when I'm firing my guns using the left stick to do up strafing, up and forward, or up and forward and backwards. It gives me more adjustment in that process there. I'm also fairly new to this setup. I just now got my pedals like a few days ago. So if you want to come fight me and win fights, now's the time to do it while I'm relearning how to fly, because I'm really bad at the moment, but I'm getting there. Not really bad, but you know, not as good as I usually am. Next we have cruise control. That is button 14, which is my click in button on my left stick. On my bottom right hat, my click in button toggles cruise control. I don't use it very often, but it's there. I don't do any of these toggle trims or anything like that. Decoupled mode on and off is my click in analog on my left stick. My boost is my trigger on my left stick. And then my speed limiter increase, this is the SEM speed. Changing the SEM speed is a roll like wheel up and down is to increase the limiter and decrease the limiter for my speed limiter. Okay, then I also have a toggle my speed limiter on and off. That is actually this side button where my thumb rests on my left stick. Click in is to turn my speed limiter on and off. If you're ever watching any of my videos, most of the time my limiter is off. That square on the velocity meter is usually dotted it's a dotted square, meaning that my limiter's off. Very often, very little, not very often do I have that limiter on. But just in case I want it on, I can toggle it on and off by clicking this button here. My speed limiter is, or speed limiter reset to SCM speed is clicking this wheel in. When I want to reset my limiter to SCM speed, I just click this wheel in. Then there's not much here with this accelerator stuff. I might maybe have something on match target velocity, but honestly, you just do that yourself. That's a good skill to have, is matching velocity with a friend or a target yourself. So good practice on that without pressing a button. Space break is this bottom left button on my left stick. I just find that that's a comfortable place for my space break. I just like it there. None of this on the locking. The G-shapes are always off. We'll go through that in the settings. Toggle landing gear is pressing down on this side button on my left stick. That's the toggle of the landing system. Toggling VTOL is the hair trigger on my left stick, and that's when I take it from being the trigger being out to being in. That's when my VTOL turns on. And to turn it off, again, I have to do the same thing. So I don't use VTOL very often, but when I do, that is my button, or I just press it on the keyboard since my keyboard is on my lap. Okay, so then there's the cycle configuration for ships that have different modes and have wings that come in and out, like the Corsair or the Fury or the Tana or the Reliant series. Any ship that has a configuration cycle, I press down on my left stick's bottom right hat. That is button 17. Then request landing is my click in on this little hat on the left side of my stick. It's a click in. I press the button in on my left stick. Cycle master modes is button 13 on my right stick. Button 13 on my right stick, which is the same button as my quantum drive, but it's just the tap. And in order to use my quantum drive, I have to hold it down. But I just tap it to go in between my modes and master modes. Then there's nothing here. The gravity compensation, I will probably add something for gravity compensation, which will probably be this. Press down on my right stick's hat where my thumb rests. That will probably be there, maybe, if I end up using that. I'm not sure. This is the new thing that's been added in, and I am still iffy on this whole situation. My laundry's done. I don't know if you guys heard the beep in the back. Now, automatic precision mode. This is actually not precision mode, what you're thinking. This is when you pull out your landing gear, it slows you down to 30 meters a second. I hate this thing. I wish there was a button or an option in the game settings to toggle this off completely, but there is a key binding that allows you to do this. So every time I get into a ship, I press right on my bottom right hat on my left stick, and that turns this off so I can go as fast as I want with my landing gear out. And I have it only on disable, as you can see, not on toggle, because I don't want to turn it on and off accidentally. I just want it off, so I just turn it off every time. And that is I believe the movement for the ship. That's quite a lot there. Quantum travel, of course, is holding down button 13 on the right stick. Okay, we don't have anything for docking because docking doesn't happen very much in the game right now. And if that does happen, it will probably go on the keyboard, or maybe I might be able to stick some things on the stick, but it's no big deal there. Vehicle targeting is not this one, but the cycling one is a long one too. This is kind of like a dead zone because the cycling is where you want to see it. The only thing here is the pin target selected and unpinned target selected. That is on my right stick. Button 9 on my right stick is the top right hat. Pressing up to pin the target. To unpin the target, it's to go down on it. Also locking, select target. This is just your lock on button. That is up on my bottom left hat on my right stick. Up on my bottom left hat on my right stick. Unlock current target is going down on that same hat. So again, like I said, guys, this key binding thing is a long video strap-in. So nothing here on the disable and look ahead stuff. That's all done in the settings. For X's Splash, I have a enter remote turret on my left stick on the left hat. This is only for things like flying the SRV, and I'm trying to catch ships out of the air. That's the only thing this is for, is entering the remote turret and trying to catch a ship out of the air using the SRV. Other than that, this is not very necessary. It's just there for some extra flair. This is the next big one, vehicle target cycling. Okay, so again, this is locking on, which is up on my right stick, bottom left hat. This is again all just locking on. So I have all these buttons on the same thing. So whenever you're trying to lock on things, you just need to make sure that you have all these buttons, the same button that you want to lock on the things. So then we go into the target pinning. Okay, so as you saw, what I did before, the target pin was up on my hat on the top right. But after you're done pinning things, if they're hostile, you want to go, I actually need to flip these around. To go forward, I want it to be button 12 going right on my hat, and this is going left. I forgot I needed to change those. So going forward is right on my hat, on the top right hat, and going back is left on the top right hat. And then to reset, I just click the button in. To reset to the closest is to click the button in on my right stick, that same hat, I click it in to reset to the closest. And then this is on the left stick, the friendlies part. It's the same thing. I need to switch these back around to go backwards and forward. So to go forward, I want to do pushing to the right, and then to go backwards, I want to go pushing to the left. Is that right? That is. Is that right? It's weird because they're opposites. You see that? But using the left stick, if I want to go back, I press left on the hat. If I want to go forward, I press right on the hat. This is for friendlies. So hostiles on the right, friendlies on the left. Same thing with resetting the closest friendly. It is the button 8, which is clicking in on my left hat. Hostiles on the right, friendlies on the left. Sound good? Then sub-targeting is, I don't know if it's working currently in 3.23, we'll have to test that soon, is on my right stick on the bottom left hat. Sub-targeting forward is sub-targeting forward, make sure that these are right, is yes, button 16, so left. Actually, that needs to be the other way around. Sub-targeting forward is right on this hat, and sub-targeting backwards is left on this hat. And then resetting to main is clicking the button in, the hat being clicked in. Just like everything else, it's all in the same kind of pattern, so it's very easy to remember. And that is our target cycling. Remember, enemies on the right and friendlies on the left. Target hailing, there is no target hailing. Flight radar, so that is just your ping, right? To ping, I actually press in this scroll wheel on the right stick. I hold it and I let go of it, and that pings my radar. That's pressing that scroll wheel in. Next is vehicle scanning. This is for if you're in scanning mode. I activate scanning mode using the keyboard currently. I don't have the key binding on the sticks for scanning to activate it, but when I'm in scanning mode, just like my fire weapons, which we haven't got to, is button 4, which is pressing down the trigger on the right stick, and that's how I scan. Increasing the scanning angle is using my right stick's scroll wheel, and decreasing is down. So up and down for the scanning angle on my scroll wheel. There is nothing in mining because I don't do mining with my sticks. I do that with mouse and keyboard. Same thing with salvage. I do salvage with my mouse and keyboard. Maybe in the future I'll do mining and salvage with the sticks, but we'll save that for another time. Turret I don't use my sticks for turret gameplay. I use mouse and keyboard, but just in case, I have the pitch and yaw set up on my right stick for turret movement. I have nothing in advanced turret because, like I said, I do not use the turrets on my sticks. I use mouse and keyboard. Weapons. So this is just very standard. My fire group 1, so my first group is so my triggers have 2 buttons, like barely clicking it in and all the way holding it down, right? So when I'm just firing group 1, I just do a small little pull on the trigger and that fires group 1. If I want to fire all my shots, I do all the way down. I don't have a setup for just weapon group 2. I either do weapon group 1 or all. That's because if I'm running a mixed load of weapons, I'm using lasers and ballistics. I usually have my lasers on weapon group 1. And if I'm wanting to fire my ballistics, I want to fire my lasers also at the same time. So that's why I have it set up for button 5. Fires all instead of just weapon group 2. So that's how I run my guns. The rest of the stuff here, this is all gimbaled stuff. I run fixed all the time. I don't ever run gimbaled, so I don't have any of that toggled. Down here below, we have cycled modes between staggered and combined mode. This is on this little side button on the right stick, on the right of the stick. The right stick on the right of the stick. To do staggered mode is button 29, which is pressing up on this button here to go to change between staggered and combined. This is changing your weapon's fire from staggered or all shooting at the same time. Then there's also my toggle lead and lag pips. I do this for certain ships that I'm fighting. Sometimes if it's a really small ship, I might run lead pip, and so I want to do that. And if it's a really big ship, I kind of want to switch to lag pip. Lately I've been running a lot of lag pip in general, just all lag pip. I'm trying to get used to just using lag pip because I just want to use lag pip instead. I'm starting to really enjoy using lag pip. And I think that is just about it for, oh, here we go. Precision targeting. This is the brand new mode in Star Citizen 3.23. Precision targeting toggle on and off. It's just up on my bottom right, hat on my left stick. That's just for my precision targeting mode. I haven't used precision targeting too much. We might have to mess with that here soon. Next is missiles, okay? So to fire my missiles is just my trigger button, because when I'm in missile mode, then I just fire with the trigger button. It's not very exciting, my fire missile buttons, but that's what it is. So the toggle missile mode, as we talked about in the beginning, that's very up at the very top. It's my button 7 on my right stick, which is this button on the top left of my sticks. But to cycle between my missiles and stuff is actually done on my left stick where my thumb is rested. So when I cycle between my missiles, cycling each missile type is right on my left stick button. To go forward and to go backwards, it's left on this little hat. To add missiles, I press up. To decrease the number of missiles, I press down. And I don't have a reset number of missiles, I just do that, just the way it is. This is a bomb desired impact point. I honestly don't know very much about bombing. I haven't done a lot of it, so I don't know how much any of these little things help, but I just have up on my left stick there to lock in where I want the impact point to be. It's just a little lock in place that helps you practice your bombing. But there you go, that's missiles. Then we got shields and countermeasures. So to launch my decoys, it is button 32 here, or 31, sorry. To launch my decoys is button 31, which is on my right stick. It's a little pinky button where my pinky rests. That's where I launch my decoys. To increase my number of decoys is my right stick trigger down below. That's to add more decoys. To decrease is the same button on the left stick to decrease, the little trigger down below. And then to launch my noise, then it's the pinky button on the left stick. And that's it for my countermeasures. I don't have any buttons for the raising shield stuff. That's all done on my mouse and keyboard. Power triangle assignments. So here they are. To set my weapons to max, I press left on this hat where my thumb rests on my right stick. I press left to set my buttons to max. As you can see, I have them set to only max modes because I don't ever have my weapons or my power systems to in the middle or anywhere else. I want them to be 100% weapons or 100% boost or 100% shields at all times. So if I want my weapon set to max, I press left on this hat where my thumb rests on my right stick. If I want it to engines, I press up on this stick. And if I want to do shields, I press right on this hat where my thumb rests. To reset them to the middle, if I really want to set them in the middle, I press down backwards on this same little hat. So that is my power triangle. Next is flight power. This is a recently new input that I put on my right stick. If I want to turn my ship off or toggle it on or off, I use this hair trigger on my right stick and pull it in. So that's just to toggle my power. I haven't used it very often. It's just there. Most of the time I do my power with my mouse and keyboard, but it's there. The rest of this stuff is either done on mouse and keyboard or it's not used at all. So flight power. Next is flight HUD. There's nothing there because I do that all on mouse and keyboard if I need to do any of that stuff like scoreboard and arena commander and whatnot. Lights is on my left stick, this button on the top right. Left stick button on the top right. Then there's nothing for vehicle mobi-glass. There's nothing for stopwatch. On foot, like I said, if you want to see my on foot settings on mouse and keyboard and stuff, leave a comment down below and maybe we'll make another video for it. But it's keyboard and mouse on foot settings is basically all default anyway, so you guys know what they are. Again, nothing for EVA because I don't do any of that on my sticks. And then ground vehicles is basically the same as everything else. It's all set up the same way. Change camera view with my analog stick on the right side. I look around with my left analog. I fire weapons the same exact way, except apparently that is fire weapon group 2 as well when it shouldn't be. So it's supposed to be like that. Open, close doors, all the same things in the vehicle that it would be. It mirrors the way I fly, so there's not really any point of showing this because it mirrors the way I fly. So then there's nothing in electronic access spectator, nothing in social. One final thing I want to add in is on my head tracking. I have a recenter head tracking for my Tobii. So sometimes when you're looking around or getting a drink or whatever and your head tracker gets messed up, I have a quick button on my sticks that resets my head tracking to the center, and that is button 28 on the right stick, which is this click in on this little hat on the right side of my stick. That's the last thing to mention in the key bindings. So yeah, that's that, guys. That's my key bindings. I know this was a long one, 28 minutes of key bindings, but it's very thorough, and those are my key bindings, and you're gonna have visuals of me pressing the buttons on the right side of the screen the whole time. And now those visuals will go away and we'll talk about the rest of the settings. I guess we'll start here on the right side, comms and head tracking. Honestly, there's nothing different on this. I run default Tobii Eye Tracker, so I just have Tobii Eye Tracker set as default. Okay, so that's legit right there. That's it. And I'm not going to go through the rest of the stuff because it's all default. Okay. Next, we'll go to controls, which is a little bit with the key bindings here. So we'll go to our HOSAS. It says HOTAS down here, but it's HOSAS. And I will talk about curves and stuff. I honestly run curves completely just normal curves. Like I just run one across the board. I do not mess with my curves. I think running one on your curves is the best way to play. You can change that if you want to change your curves on your sticks to your liking, but what I suggest is find what you like quickly and then practice on that. Don't spend way too long adjusting your curves to find what you like. You should pick something and work on getting better at that. So I just leave my curves at flat 1, and we'll just leave it at that, right? Okay. So then on that, my dead zones are default, and my saturation, I actually turned my saturation to 0.8, which this is on both sticks. When I'm showing this is showing basically both my sticks. My curves are the same on both sticks, and my saturation is the same on both sticks. I have it on 0.8, which means when I'm at 80% of pushing my stick forward, it is at 100% actually, so that you don't have to fully push your stick all the way in or all the way out to get the full input, because pushing your stick all the way in and all the way out is bad for your stick. It hurts the joints. So, and plus it's a long way to go. So changing your saturation level to 0.8 or 0.9 or 0.7, depending on how you want it, is always a good idea. So I changed my saturation levels on my X and Y axes to 0.8 for me. I leave the twisting, the Z axis, I leave that 100% because the twisting is a much smaller rotation, and I think you want, I think you would probably just want it that way. Another small thing to add for your flight inversion settings, you want to make sure that you change your flight inversion settings for throttle. This is HOTAS 1 is my right stick, so it actually doesn't have any inversion settings, but you want to make sure that your forward and back inversion settings on your, let's go to HOTAS 2, right? In inversion settings, you want to make sure that you go to flight and you go to flight movement, and you go, if you're using sticks as your forward and back, you want to have your throttle, forward and back inverted, yes. As you can see here, I also have my strafe up and down as yes, because now I go up with my y-axis on my left stick, so that is why I have my flight strafe inverted, so that it's showing the correct way. And the same thing with my HOTAS 3, which is my pedals. In my inversion settings, I have under flight movement, I have the forward and back throttle inverted, yes. So there's that. Also, quick little note on my pedals, I have my saturation at 0.85, so I don't have to push my pedals all the way in either, but I have it at 8.5 or 0.85 because I just want to have a little bit more control with my pedals, because there's not too much room for that. So that's that. There's nothing to go over in audio. We'll go into game settings real quick, because there's a lot of things to go over here in this, just so I can give you guys the full rundown of everything that I can on making your life better in Star Citizen. So cinematic cameras, sure, why not? Let's leave those on. Vibration, sure, why not? Leave that on. Camera spring movement, this is for when you're flying, and you know, when you hit your boosters or when you start moving, your camera in third person actually moves. If you turn this off, your camera won't move when you move. I think it takes away from the immersion, so I just leave it on. But if you're trying to take really nice pictures, you can take this camera spring movement off, and you can get nice pictures and nice videos by turning those off. I have hints off because I know all the stuff, and control hints off because I know all the stuff. I have subtitles on because I like subtitles. I don't have these subtitles on because then there'll just be way too many subtitles. Ship entry labels, depending on your liking, you can turn this on or off. I just leave it on because that's just the way it is by default. This will show you where the entry points for all your ships are. If you know where all the entry points are, you can turn this off, and it helps with immersion. So honestly, I think I prefer to have it off, but I just leave it on because it's just something that, you know, if you don't know where the ship entrance is, it helps. And sometimes you get into shit that you haven't been in a long time, and you're like, where do I go? Well, this will help you. Text input replay delay, this is all default. Sprint toggle, I like my sprint to be hold, so I don't have the sprint toggle on. Crouching and prone, I have toggled on, so it's just a button. Aim down sights toggle, no way, Jose. Interaction mode toggle, no way. Interaction prompt display icon, sure. I'm not exactly sure what that is, but sure. Highlighting interaction mode, highlight mode, interaction mode, yes. Lean toggle, I like my toggles to be my leans to be toggles, yes. Crosshair mode on, sure, why not? This is the new dynamic crosshair. You can turn it off if you don't want it on. I probably will end up turning it off for immersion, but for now, since it's new, I'm leaving it on. crosshair visible opacity. This is like if you want the crosshair to be, you know, kind of becoming see-through, but yeah, let's leave it the way it is for now. Hit markers, sure, why not? It helps. Weapon mount, use FPS style rotation instead of turn. Not exactly sure what that is. We'll just leave it on by default. Star map, zoom speed, whatever. So here's some of the other ones, right? So the flight hostess thrust invert toggle. So this is another way of toggling off your inversion on your throttle for thrusting. But I just leave it the way I just did it the way I did through controls instead of doing it through game settings. Make sense? G-safe disabling when boosting. Well, yes, but I have G-safe disabled by default anyways. You'll see a little bit further down. This one, speed limiter defaults on. No. So whenever I get in a ship, I have this off. So every time I get in a ship, my limiter is already off. My limiter is never on. I control my speed by my movements on my sticks and pedals. So I always have my limiter off. 99% of the time, my limiter is off. So just by default, I have it off. Flight proximity assist defaults on. Maybe this helps you from crashing into things, maybe? Maybe that's what it does. Might have to look into turning that off for low flying and stuff. Because maybe it helps you not run into things. I'm not exactly sure. Space brake engages boost. You should have this on, yes. So that's when you hit your space brake button, your boost will be used. That way you'll come to a stop easier. Flight coupled modes default on. I have this on no. This means whenever I get into a ship, I should be in decoupled mode from the start. This is currently broken. It's not actually working at 3.23, so hopefully that gets fixed. But normally when I get into a ship, I'm already toggled on to decoupled mode instead of being on the default coupled mode. And that's how you turn that off and on. So this is pilot relative throttle, all stuff that is just default that I haven't messed with. Pilot ESP strength. This is your auto aim helper. You should always have that at 100 if you want to hit things. VJoy visibility, visible only with mouse input, sure, and whatnot. There's VJoy stuff I'm not very familiar with. This is all. The VJoy is your mouse movement, like when you're playing mouse and keyboard flight. So you can't see it. I mean, I guess you could put it on and you can see your stick inputs. That's actually interesting. But yeah, so that's your mouse and keyboard stuff. Driver VJoy, all that stuff. Turrets VJoy, sure. That's all mouse and keyboard stuff. The VJoy is your mouse movement. Turrets, mouse input, lock vehicles rotation, free gimbal. All this stuff is all default basically here. Aiming, auto gimbal display on average pip. This is new as well, I believe. On target with gimbal indicators. I just leave it as default. Let me know in the comments below what your guys' settings, if any of these settings need to be changed to make my gameplay better. Because a lot of the stuff I don't know exactly what everything is to a T. Some of this stuff I kind of just pass by because I don't care about them, like gimbal mode stuff. I don't care about gimbal mode stuff. I don't use gimbal, so I ignore it. Let me know if I need to change things. But anyways, arm missile count can loop, sure. Desired endpoint direction. Vehicle targeting, enable crosshair animation, yes. Target, show heading, yes. Show distance, yes. Show name, yes. Show trail, yes. You want all those on. Auto select behavior, use look direction, that's how I like to do it. Pinning, overflow behavior, overflow disabled. Enable auto zoom on lock target. Target max zoom. I don't want it to auto zoom on my target. I don't want look ahead. I have those turned off. I don't want my camera to be looking in. I would recommend you to turn these off. This all look ahead stuff is turned off, so all this doesn't matter. Same thing with the turret. You don't want it zooming in. This driver look ahead, again, I have it turned off. So again, my head doesn't move around when I'm looking at things. I would recommend to turn those off. And then the pilot driver turret automatic enable target padlock. No. G-force induced head movement. Okay, so if you're looking to be an awesome pilot, you probably want to turn these down. Let me know down in the comments below if you guys turn these down, the G-force head movement. But my only problem is if I turn all these all the way off, the G-force head movement and the G-force induced afterburner zoom and the global camera shake, if I turn those off, that hurts immersion immensely. So like, I don't want to turn these off for immersion, but if you want to be a super good pilot and be the best of the best, you should probably turn those off so they don't mess you up while you're flying. So let me know down in the comments below how you guys feel about that situation in the G-force category. It takes away immersion, but it makes you fly better, because you don't get interrupted by camera shake and movement and stuff. So vehicle exiting combat, show party members. Yes, this is all kind of stuff that doesn't really matter. This is all, you want all this on. This is up to you if you want to see your nameplate of your friends and whatnot. It kind of takes up a lot of the screen, so that's turned off. Plus immersion, so that's turned off. Show contact distance. Yes, and then this is all just social stuff, blah 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 blah. And there you go. So that is the game settings that I run as well on top of it. Graphics, we'll just go quickly over this for people who want to see my graphics. There's nothing fancy about my graphics, guys. You have my computer specs in the description below. I just run whatever people tell me to run. I don't really care what the graphics are. I like things to look beautiful, but I'm not a person who needs 200 FPS and 4K. I'm okay with as long as my game runs great. But here it is. I run borderless mode, 1920. Graphics render direct 11. You could go to Vulkan now, which is an option, but I'm just running on the direct 11 still because Vulkan's not completely ready. Upscaling, I'm not exactly sure what that's for. Upscaling technique, you could do the DLS now and stuff. I just leave it on the default regular one so that my game runs decently well. HDR experimental, I don't run all this stuff because I don't have a super duper computer. I have a pretty damn good computer, but I don't have a super duper computer. Quality is very high. Scattered object distance is medium. Water is medium. I keep turning this on to high and it keeps turning back to medium. I don't know why, but yeah, water quality is medium. It's supposed to be high or very high because I like to see the water stuff. Terrain distance medium. Screen space shadows high, and I like the clouds that look beautiful, so I turn the clouds on very high. Field of view should always be at 100, guys. Do not go over 100. Leave your field of view at 100 or less, depending on how you want. But this is an important thing for when you're flying and seeing all your monitors. You want it at 100. Motion blur, whatever. That's people have opinions on it. I just leave it default. VSync sure, sharpening and chromic stuff and film grain, and then the QR code is only for the ePTU. But there you go. That's my graphic settings. Now I've showed you guys everything. So this is going to be a 50-minute long video, and I'm going to do some insane editing with putting in the correct visuals while I'm doing the key bindings and everything. Thank you guys for watching, and let me know down below what your guys' key bindings are. If you want to see mouse and keyboard key bindings, let me know down below as well. And let me know if there's any improvements I should make, or if you have any questions, whatnot, you know, leave those down in the comments. Join the Discord. All kinds of cool things are happening now that 3.23 is right around the corner. We're going to have lots of fun. Star Citizen's going to be going through some rough patches, but we're still going to have a fun, good time. Thank you guys for being here. I'm done talking. That was a lot of talking for 50 minutes. This is Astro Manny signing off. I hope you guys have a wonderful day. Like, comment, subscribe, and you know, adios, guys. Bye bye.